Hi, my name is Ana Montaño. I am 18 and this is my testimony. So I grew up in the Church of God and I always knew truth and I always knew salvation. It was taught to me from a young age. But I was always super into the world. I was super into makeup and boys and worldly clothes and just basically everything the world had to offer. I was intrigued by it. I went to public school and temptation was all around me at school. And I just grew up loving the attention that the world gave me, that I got from wearing worldly clothes and makeup and all that. And but I was never driven to a point where I wanted to smoke or drink, or I didn't want to go so far because my mom always taught me to pray that God would have mercy on my soul. So I always had a fear inside of me. I didn't want to disappoint my mom, and I didn't want to disappoint God. So I never wanted to smoke or drink, just because I didn't want to be a follower. But I was super bound by makeup. It came to the point where I felt insecure without it. It was just so addicting. And the worldly clothes was so addicting too. And messing around with boys, it was super addicting as well. I craved that attention and I strongly desired it. So I was just really bound up by the world. But it got to a point where I was hearing voices in my head, and it was just voices taunting me, telling me, "You're going to hell, there's no hope for you." And it got to a point where I was just living in fear. I would cry myself to sleep at night, and I was just super unhappy. I didn't have peace. And one day, I went to my mother and I expressed what I was going through to her, and I asked for prayer because that's really the only thing I knew to do. Nothing else could really help in that situation besides God. So I asked my mother for prayer. And when we were praying, I just could not say I wanted to be saved, but I knew I wanted to be saved, but I couldn't say the words. I couldn't utter the words. I feel like the devil was just closing my mouth. But inside of me, I was just crying out for mercy. And finally, I gave my life to God, and it was honestly the best experience ever. If I could relive that moment over and over again, I would, because I just felt such a relief. And I felt such a peace come over me. I finally felt secure knowing that I was going to heaven. And my Father told me, "Your name is now written in the book of life." And it was such a relief in that moment. It felt so comforting knowing that now I can do life with such an awesome God. Now that I have been saved for 3 years, life is so much better. God has changed me so much. I had so many toxic traits and character flaws in my personality, to the point where I was not happy with myself. And God has just changed me so much, and He's made me into the best version of myself. He's still working on me, but in this life you can really become the best version of yourself. And only salvation can do that for you. I enjoy life now. I enjoy my youth. God has showed me the beauty in salvation, the beauty in modesty, the beauty in preserving yourself, the beauty in pure fun. And I just feel free now. I don't live with fear anymore, because I know that God's got my back every step of the way. I want the world to experience what I've experienced. I want the young people to experience what I've experienced, because this is the best life you could ever live. It's surreal. It just doesn't feel real knowing that you have such a good God by your side. Salvation has truly satisfied me. I've never regretted it, not one day, and I will never regret it. And salvation has completely changed me, and it could do the same for you.